Well, inauguration's behind us now, and we're already on day 2 of
Yeah.
Trump's second term.
It's amazing how fast it all goes.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Just like that.
And it's Tuesday, and it has been a busy day,
Yeah.
a very busy day. It seems like the White House is just humming with activity and decisions,
Oh, yeah.
and we've got a lot to unpack.
It's really fascinating how it seems like he's just picking right back up where he left off.
Yeah.
Just going full speed ahead right out of the gate. A lot of people are, I think, a little rattled by it, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people surprised. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are concerned as well. When we look at some of these decisions that are coming out, I mean, just starting with that pardon decision, to pardon every single
I
person
know.
who was convicted or facing charges related to January 6th.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
Over 1,500
It's
individuals.
huge. Over 1,500 people.
That's a huge decision. That's a shockwave.
Oh, absolutely. And you see both sides of it, right? Like you have Deborah Sandoval. Her son was convicted for his role in the riot. She's so relieved, obviously, and still maintains that her son is innocent
Right.
and that the election was stolen. And then on the other hand, you have police organizations, even some Republicans,
Yeah.
expressing their concern.
Yeah, they're saying this undermines the rule of law. This could embolden future violence.
Yeah.
What does justice even mean in this context? I mean, the really important question.
Big question. Yeah.
And so we have the January 6th pardons, but that's not all. We also have a flurry of executive orders
Oh, yeah. He's been busy.
hitting on everything from immigration to birthright citizenship
Sympathy eye
to diversity.
to the WHO. It's
Yeah.
like he's checking things off a list.
He really wants to, make his mark right away.
Yeah.
So let's dig into some of these executive orders because there's a lot to unpack here.
Mm.
Starting with immigration. He declared a national emergency at the southern border. He's authorizing the deployment of the military, and he's putting an end to the use of the CBP-1 app for legal entry. I mean, this is a significant escalation
It is, for sure.
from his previous stance.
Yeah, you can really see his America First agenda coming into play here.
Absolutely.
It's like putting it right into action.
Absolutely. And then there's this attempt to end birthright citizenship
Oh, yeah.
via executive order.
That's a big one.
This is something that many legal experts believe is unconstitutional. It directly challenges the 14th Amendment.
Absolutely. This one's going to be tied up in the courts for a while.
I think so. And the outcome,
Huge ramifications.
the ramifications are huge,
Mm-hmm.
potentially could reshape U.S. demographics and society as a whole.
Yeah, it's a big one to watch for sure.
Then we have the dismantling of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs
Right.
across the federal government. So DEI staff are being put on leave, and agencies are directed to come up with a plan for their termination.
Wow.
This is a major shift in priorities
Mm-hmm.
and potentially a rollback of a lot of progress that's been made.
Yeah, it's a strong message.
Yeah. And then, of course, the withdrawal from the World Health Organization,
Yeah.
citing their handling of the pandemic and what he sees as undue influence from member states.
It makes you wonder how this is going to affect global health, international relations.
Hmm.
Will other countries follow? What's going to happen with cooperation on big issues like pandemics and climate change?
It's a really big question, and we are already seeing world leaders reacting to Trump's return.
Oh, yeah.
We're seeing a mix of cautious congratulations, some concern.
Outright condemnation from some.
Yeah. And I think that there's just a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, people are just trying to figure out, what this new, or I guess not so new, Trump is going to be
Yeah.
like, how to approach him. There's this feeling that trust needs to be rebuilt after his first term.
Definitely. And it's not just the international relations that are in flux. Back here at home,
Yeah.
cabinet picks are raising some eyebrows.
Oh, yeah. Some interesting choices for sure.
Marco Rubio has been confirmed as Secretary of State.
Yeah, that was pretty smooth sailing for him.
Yeah, relatively smooth process. But
Yeah.
the nominations of Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense
Uh-oh.
and Kash Patel for FBI Director,
Yeah.
those are facing some more hurdles.
Yeah, Hegseth is already dealing with misconduct allegations, and Patel's past is, well, pretty controversial.
Yeah, and then we have Elise Stefanik being nominated for UN Ambassador.
That's a big one,
Big one.
especially with her past comments about Israel's right to annex the West Bank and, calling out what she calls anti-Semitic rot within the UN.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how that confirmation hearing goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one. And it really gives us insight into, the direction this administration could be heading with foreign policy.
For sure. It's a sign of the times.
And then on the other side of the aisle, you have the Democrats.
Yeah.
And they're concerned about this hiring freeze that Trump's put in place.
That's right.
And how that's going to potentially affect veteran care at the VA.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
They see this as a sign of things to come and a potential area for some real conflict
Yeah.
as this administration takes shape.
It feels like we're holding our breath watching all this unfold in real time. It's only day 2.
It's only day 2.
Wild, Fred.
I think it's safe to say that we're all in for a very interesting ride with this second Trump administration.
Oh, yeah, buckle up.
We'll see what happens next.
I mean, it is remarkable how much has already happened.
It's crazy.
In just 48 hours.
I know.
It's like every hour
That feels like a week.
there's a new headline and a new controversy.
Yeah, you mentioned the legal challenges, and it seems like those are starting to pile up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 22 Democratic-led states and cities have filed suit
Wow.
challenging that birthright citizenship thing, and the National Treasury Employees Union.
All right.
They're taking legal action against that order that weakens civil service protections. So this is just the beginning. It's going to be a long legal battle over how far presidential power can really go.
I mean, that's the question, isn't it? How are the courts ultimately going to rule on these executive orders?
Right.
Will they uphold what Trump's doing?
Right.
Or will they set some limits to his authority?
Right.
I mean, the answers to these questions, I think, have huge implications
Absolutely.
for the balance of power in our government and the future of American democracy.
No doubt. And we can't forget about Congress.
Right.
What are the Republicans going to do? Are they going to stay united behind Trump, or will we see some cracks?
Yeah.
And what about the Democrats? I mean, can they actually be effective in opposing him? Or are they going to be totally sidelined by a Republican-controlled Congress?
I mean, it's so complex, I think.
Oh, it's a mess.
Predicting what's going to happen is trying to predict the weather weeks out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But one thing is certain.
Yeah.
The stakes are high.
Oh, absolutely.
What happens in these next few weeks and months is really going to shape.
It's going to set the tone for his whole presidency.
Yeah. And beyond the politics and the legal battles, there's the human element to all this.
Right.
And we can't lose sight of that.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't get so caught up in the abstract policy debates that we forget that real people are being affected by these decisions.
Like the people seeking asylum at the border.
Exactly.
The people working in these federal agencies.
Right.
The people who might get caught in the middle of trade wars.
Absolutely. We're not talking about theory here. These are real-world impacts.
Right.
We have to think about the people who were directly affected by those January 6th pardons.
Like, what does justice even look like for the families of those who were injured or lost loved ones at the Capitol?
Right.
What message does this send to law enforcement?
And to the people who want to break the law.
Right. I mean, these are important questions that I think we all need to be thinking about. Yeah. And it's a reminder, I think, that we can't just sit back and watch this happen.
We have to get involved.
Yeah. Stay informed.
Stay engaged.
Hold our leaders accountable.
For sure. And let's not forget about the international implications here. I mean, Trump's America First approach has already put a strain on some alliances.
Oh, yeah.
And emboldened our adversaries.
Wow.
And this could lead to even more tension on the global stage.
Well, we've already seen the EU express concern about the U.S. pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement. And Germany has criticized the decision to leave the WHO.
Yeah, and then there's Zelensky in Ukraine. You know, he's calling for unity, but you can tell he's worried about whether Trump's going to prioritize Europe and NATO.
But then you have leaders like Modi in India and Orban in Hungary, who seem to be much more receptive to Trump's return.
Yeah, it's complicated out there.
It's really hard to say what the long-term consequences of all this are going to be.
We just don't know yet.
But the whole world's watching.
They are, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
And in the middle of all this, we have this Stargate project.
Yeah.
This $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure.
Oh, yeah, that's got everyone talking.
Yeah. Bold move. A lot of buzz. But it also raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, it does.
Some people are skeptical. Is this really a genuine investment in the future?
Right.
Or is it just a political move designed to make Trump look good?
Yeah, and there are real concerns about jobs, you know.
Yeah.
As AI gets more and more sophisticated, are we going to see mass unemployment?
Right.
Will this investment create more jobs than it eliminates? And then you have to think about the ethical side of all this. How do we make sure that AI is developed responsibly?
Right.
That it's used for good and not for harm?
Yeah.
These are things we need to be figuring out right now before AI becomes so powerful that it's impossible to control.
Day 2 of the second Trump administration.
I know. Can you believe it?
It feels like a week's worth of news.
Seriously, it's like drinking from a fire hose.
So much has happened. The pardons, the executive orders, the cabinet appointments, the global reactions, the legal challenges, this massive AI project. I mean, where do we even begin to make sense of all this?
Well, I think if we take a step back from all the noise,
Okay.
we can actually see a pattern emerging.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What kind of pattern?
I think it comes down to this idea of American exceptionalism.
American exceptionalism.
You know, the idea that America is unique and superior and destined to lead.
Right.
And I think this belief is at the heart of so much of what we're seeing from Trump.
Okay, so how does this idea of American exceptionalism connect to what we've seen in these first 2 days?
Well, let's take the pardons, for example.
Okay.
By pardoning everyone involved in January 6th, he's basically saying that Americans, even if they break the law, are above the law. It's like he's rejecting the idea that America has to follow international norms or legal precedents.
Right. Right. And what about the executive orders with their focus on America first?
Oh, absolutely. Those are all about putting American interests first, even if it means upsetting our allies or breaking international agreements.
So it's a very unilateral approach.
Exactly. He's not interested in multilateralism or cooperation. He's going it alone.
And his cabinet picks seem to fit this worldview, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You've got people like Marco Rubio and Elise Stefanik, who are known for their hawkish foreign policy views.
All right.
They definitely share Trump's belief in American strength and dominance.
Okay, but what about the Stargate project? That seems different. Doesn't that involve global cooperation?
Yeah, you're right. It does seem like a departure from the America First theme.
Yeah.
But I think you can still see it through that lens. It's about making sure that America stays on top in the field of AI.
Right.
Which is going to be hugely important for economic and military power in the future.
So it's still about maintaining American dominance.
Exactly.
Huh?
Just in the 21st century.
So it sounds like you're saying that Trump's second term is shaping up to be a pretty bold statement about American power.
It's definitely a gamble. He's betting that America can go it alone, that we can call the shots.
And do you think that gamble will pay off?
I don't know. I mean, it's a really high-stakes game.
Yeah, there are so many unknowns right now.
Yeah.
Will this make America more prosperous and secure? Or will it lead to more conflict and instability?
Will it unite the country or divide us even further?
I mean, these are huge questions, and I don't think anyone has the answers right now.
Yeah, it's up to us to figure it out. We can't just sit back and watch what happens.
We have to stay informed, stay engaged,
and hold our leaders accountable.
And remember that we, the people, have the power to shape the future.
It's our country and our future.
So let's make sure we're all doing our part.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, everyone.